How's it going, everyone? Doing a trade recap. Today, it's Tuesday, October 10th. I took meta calls off the open pretty quickly, to be honest. I don't think that was that great of a trade. But when I get in quick off the open, obviously the idea is that I wanted to go quick or get out. And being that there was a strong move, I kind of chased into it. It did allow me to eventually get out for basically flat and then just reevaluate. And then that's when Tesla popped up, had a nice move to the upside, ended up taking calls on that as well, and made $900 in the first 20 minutes off the open. Now let's get into the technicals. We'll start with Meta first. So what has happened on the daily chart? A couple days ago, big bullish candle out of the range that it's been in, showing some strength to the upside, got above the short-term moving averages, felt like maybe that could possibly start a leg to the upside. And then the day after, cleared prior day high and then closed relatively strong. So just keeping it pretty simple, right? Thinking that, all right, the daily chart, we've caught some momentum to the upside. Maybe that could continue. Now, what are some of the levels that I'm looking at? We had prior day high, which is 320.33. So that's going to be a clear level. And then just looking to the right at the 5-minute, what was going on in the pre-market? It was holding above prior day close. So showing some strength in the pre-market. And then we had pre-market high right around 319.40. So as far as the upside levels, this is what I was looking at. And then just thinking in my mind, if this can get above pre-market high, clear 320, and then get above prior day high, maybe this could have more momentum to the upside. Now let's get into the meta trade. And I think I chased this. I do not believe my entry was great. I think had I got a better entry or a better area to get long, would have been the break of that pre-market high right around 319.40. But I still thought that it was okay simply just because 320 was that level that I was interested in. And then if it got above prior day high, maybe it could continue to the upside. So I ended up taking pretty quickly off the open the 320 calls. I got 10 of them and I got a fill price at $4.95. So I'm only in this trade for $4,950. And it didn't really go as fast as I want, but it is pretty quick off the open. And that is a nice, strong, bullish 2-minute candle. So as long as it holds above that pre-market high, I felt good about possible continuation. But in the back of my mind, I am realizing this is a bit of a chase. So I don't want to hold on for too long. But holding that 320, any sort of pop that we can get in my favor, I want to think about taking profits. But being that it was struggling at that 320 a little bit, I didn't feel as confident in the trade as I wanted to. So, my mentality is that if it's not going to really start to speed up to the upside, then I should just think about getting out of this flat. And I did get a nice move to the upside there, held that 320, got above that prior day high. But look at this 2-minute candle. There's not a lot of aggressive bullish movement behind it. It's pretty slow to the upside. It does get a little bit of a move there, but I feel like this is all done on low volume. There's just not a really strong continuation, and it started to reject there, so I ended up just getting out of the position and sold those contracts at $5 for basically a break-even trade. And I'm glad that I got out on that push because it immediately sold off. And honestly, I think that this was just a case of, a couple things. I did not get the best entry. I kind of chased that 2-minute candle. I try not to do that. And in the back of my mind, knowing that, all right, well, you chased it. I feel like the volume wasn't very high. And then because it didn't really clear out that prior day high and start to speed up aggressively, I know that if I don't feel 100% behind a trade, the best thing for me to do is just get out flat and then I can reevaluate and wait for a better setup. And that's exactly what I did. Now getting into the technicals on Tesla. To the left, this is the daily chart. Look at the last handful of days. I feel like the price action is starting to get tight. Almost a bit of a bull flag. It also closed above the 9 EMA, the 20 SMA, and it's well above the 50 SMA. Some short-term moving averages that I like to use for short-term direction. And now I was just thinking that, hey, if this can hold those moving averages, and if it could clear prior day high, maybe this could break out because I know the personality of Tesla. And sometimes when there's a few days of sideways action, when it chooses a direction, it can catch some momentum. So that's really what I was looking at. And then as far as to the right, let's take a look at some of those levels. So prior day high, 261.36. That was going to be a main level that I'm looking at to the upside. If we can clear that prior day high, which also was kind of a double top from the day before that, then maybe this could really get going to the upside because I know I'm not the only one that's looking at this kind of setup. It was trading slightly weak in the pre-market. So being aware of where pre-market low was, which was right around 257.40, and then also pre-market high, which was right around 260. So if this can not break down and it can go red to green, it can get above pre-market high and clear prior day high, then this has the possibility of breaking out. Now it's just about waiting for that setup. Now getting into the price action. So what happened off the open? Basically a straight up move. Red to green, above the VWAP, above the 9 EMA, and I did chase this a bit, but there was a lot of technical levels above, so I felt pretty good about it. And not only feeling pretty good about it, but similar to that meta trade, I'm going to get in this pretty quickly, and then I want to see it to really start to speed up in my favor. Otherwise, I'm just going to bail on it. But knowing that it's above that prior day high, and if we can hold above those levels, then we could get some juice to the upside. So I ended up going for it. I took the 260, 250 calls. I took 10 of them, and I got a fill price at $4.55. So only $4,546 to be in this trade. And as long as this holds above 260 and it stays green on the day, I feel pretty good about it. Now, this wicking candle had me a little worried, but sometimes Tesla can do this. It has a crazy personality. And as soon as it looks like it's going to do the opposite, it can get bought back up or vice versa. If it looks like it's going to sell, it can just reverse the other way. So I'm just being patient with this and realizing that as long as it stays green, it holds above that 260, can kind of set a base above 261, then we got a shot to get going because there is technicals above. And if you look at that strong bullish move off the open, it feels like dips are going to get bought. And that's exactly what happened. So each 2-minute candle just continuously makes a new high. And then the one thing I like about this is you see the whole numbers kind of just keep being support. Has a push through 262. We come back to 262. It's starting to build a wick off of it. So I like this. And I'm a scalper at heart. So I'm not going to hold for a really long time. But the moment we start to get a nice push in my favor, obviously I want to consider taking profits because look at that move from the lows. 258, almost a 263, a 5-point move straight up off the open. Eventually, I think there's going to be a pullback. So I want to make sure that as I get a move higher, I want to consider taking profits. But I was thinking about trying to get $1 on these contracts because I got a fill price at 455. So I was thinking, hey, if we can get a push anywhere to 555, I think $1 move on the contracts, that's a heck of a move. But also, we had that push into 263. It kind of started to wick at that area. And sometimes those whole numbers can be resistance as well as support. So when it came into that 263, started to wick a little bit, I ended up just taking it off, sold all 10 contracts at $5.40 for a nice move. So took those 2 trades, both to the long side, basically break-even trade on Meta. Nice follow-through breakout on Tesla and made $9.04 in the first 20 minutes of market open. So that was a trade recap. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.